Hello, everybody, and welcome to this presentation of the ECL Elite Division right here on Sports Gamer. My name is Tuki, joined as always by my broadcast partner, Mr. Sin, for the win. And Sin, today we continue on with our Week 5 coverage of our spring season. Kicking off today's action, it is YMCA Esports taking on IQUE. And of course, a little bit later on, we have Roots Gaming and Stargazing. Again, very valuable points up for grabs for all four of these teams.
Absolutely, especially for a team like IQUE with all the games in hand that, they're coming into today with, taking on a team that's right above them in the standings. This is a possible, massive, each of the two games they're going to play are essentially 4-point games. So IQUE has a big chance to be able to move themselves up and, maybe towards getting out of that relegation spot. And who knows, with the amount of games in hand, if they're able to go on a run, they may even threaten for a playoff berth.
Absolutely. Well, you kind of mentioned the standings and where these two sets of teams are at. And currently, this is the live standings that we have heading into the action tonight. Of course, our top 8 teams make the playoffs upon the conclusion of a 30-game regular season. And of course, for this opening matchup, somehow, some ways, and these are the bottom 2 clubs, and really the 4 bottom teams in the league are the ones in the spotlight today. The most shocking of which, obviously, is IQUE. They finished in 5th place last year, and here they are, currently dead last. They do have games at hand, including 6 on their opponent today in YMCA Esports. So needless to say, if they want to catch up and avoid what would be a shocking fall from grace, they need to get some W's today.
Absolutely, and to try to do their best to do that in regulation as well. I know it may be difficult. Of course, YMCA, obviously all the clubs up here in the ECL Elite are extremely competent. They're here in the ECL Elite, but, for IQUE, it's, getting points is just as important as trying to prevent your opponent from getting points too. So they don't find themselves in an easy situation, but it's maybe minorly offset by the amount of games in hand that they have. Their last team left with only 12 games played. I mean, you look across the list, so many teams with 20 games played, 2/3 of the way done with their season, and IQUE hasn't even hit the halfway point.
Again, a reminder, the top 8 teams making the playoffs, but we keep an eye on those bottom 4 spots. 13, 14, and 15 play a relegation series with top clubs in our pro division, and the 16th team automatically relegated to said pro division heading into our winter season in NHL 23 later on this year. So again, a lot to play for up and down the standings. Want to mention today as well the games that we have going on. Of course, as mentioned, we kick it off with YMCA and IQUE. Roots Gaming taking on Stargazing on broadcast as well. But there are other big matchups being played here today. You have the likes of HV71 and the Fallon Coal Miners, both looking to get back into that playoff mix. And a battle of playoff teams, Sin, H-Reds and Yipivaskala, Frölunda and Färjestad. And maybe the matchup that catches my eye the most, Örebro and Havu. Örebro, of course, right on the outside looking in. This is a big matchup for them.
Yeah, absolutely. They're one of trying to get back into that playoff seeding. They held a spot for a little bit at the beginning of the year, but everything kind of moved so quickly, and a lot of teams began improving. One of them being Havu Gaming. They've been really on a good stretch the last few, and they want to be able to stay in that playoff matchup. That's going to be a very tight series and a tough one for both of those teams.
Absolutely. So, want to mention as well, we mentioned our pro division. Of course, this is not our only coverage this week. Of course, before we even get started with this broadcast, want to mention that tomorrow you can tune in as well at the same time for round 1 of our pro division playoffs. It is Salkovan Sadet taking on Deadly Phantoms. Of course, King Liam and B Major on the call for that one. One of these two teams, if not both, and technically could very well find their way into the Elite Division next season. Deadly Phantoms do have a history in the Elite Division that we are well aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Deadly Phantoms are a team that we followed for quite some time at the beginning of our tenure here with NHL Gamers. And of course, these pro teams, the spotlight's always kind of got to be on them because these are teams that we could be seeing in the elite. And at least one of them will be coming up, the team that does win the championship. So I'll be definitely keeping a close eye on that as well.
Absolutely. So with that, let's turn it over to the team stats, and we'll focus on the matchup ahead for the opening contest of this broadcast. It is YMCA Esports taking on IQUE, and Sin, as you would expect for the teams entering play in the bottom two spots in the standings, the numbers not what we would have expected for either of these two teams that certainly had playoff aspirations.
Absolutely, and for IQ, it's really, to me, it's their goals for. Their goals against isn't too bad, just the 12 games played, they're averaging, a little bit over 2 goals against. I mean, that's, middle of the pack. They're the eight least goals against team, but it's their goals for. Only 1.5 per game. That's the third least. I mean, that's part of the reason they find themselves down there. But if they could just figure out how to get that offensive production going, they've got the defense and goaltending in place, it seems. It's just, for some reason, the offense has been eluding them this season. And for YMCA, a bit of a combination of a little of everything. Goals against differentials in the negatives, not a great power play. Penalty kill seems to be struggling as they find themselves towards the bottom half of the standings.
The lineup for both sides here in this matchup, YMCA, it is JM, Angel Kuru, and Sokolo as the front three. Juge and Julius on defense, and Bennu between the pipes. For IQ, Niepi, Ikavalko, and Jurgeli. Nico and Pottsburg, Teme in goal. And as always, we'll start it off with that center comparison. Angel Kuru against Ikavalko, and certainly a massive numbers advantage. Even if the games were to be even, the pace Ikavalko's on, 15 points in 6 games, would certainly be the type of performance that IQ needs to get their season back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. And Angel Kuru has kind of been the guy for YMCA. He's tied for 8th among skaters in assists, which for the second to last team in the standings is pretty impressive. 25 points leading his team. And not only that, but the next closest guy, Sokolo, is 7 points behind him. I mean, Angel Kuru as a center has been fantastic. You can see there in the dot. He's also been great. And when it comes to Ikavalko, it's still kind of a lot to be desired. The goal scoring pace is there, but the overall points, sub point per game, his face-off percentage, 43.2, has definitely got to be, I think, one of the lowest, if not the lowest, amongst centers here in the ECL Elite. So definitely a lot to kind of improve upon for Ikavalko's game, and he's going to want to start doing it here to help his team push their way back up the bracket.
On the wings for YMCA, it is JM and Sokolo. Again, Niepi and Jurgeli for IQ. And Sin, again, as you would expect, the numbers just not quite where either side would want them to be. But there are some, notable kind of examples here of these stat lines. All 4 of these guys rather physical, and Sokolo certainly stands out with those 13 goals.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's been the goal scorer for YMCA, and it's a bit puzzling to see JM sub point per game. He's been in the ECL Elite for quite some time, been on this squad for quite some time, always seemed to be one of the top point production guys. And, this season he just kind of hasn't, quite figured out a way to put it together here. And it's definitely something that he's going to have to try to look forward to. The one thing I noticed kind of about all these forwards as well is the shot totals are quite low for a lot of them, especially, 12 games played, only 18 shots apiece for both Jurgeli and Niepi there. That's simply not going to be enough. They're going to need a higher volume of shots, especially here, to really try to turn things around. Even if you don't score on all of them, it helps to kind of feed the momentum and feed your offense, getting those shots and then battling for the loose pucks. It's those little kind of details that really seem to kind of be able to dig teams out of those slumps.
The defensive comparison that we have here against Juge and Julius on defense against Nico and Pottsburg, and a real similar story here, Sin, just in terms of the the numbers that these guys have put up on the back end. I think again Juge stands out just a little bit for that extra bit of physicality, leading the way amongst these 4.
Yeah, and 4 goals to his credit as well. So definitely kind of a a high offensive potential when he's there, goal scoring wise, and of course a physical presence. So definitely could be a game changer back there on the point. But yeah, I think you said it's just both these teams, still kind of looking for, who's going to step up, who's going to kind of, begin to kind of push their way and help push their team, kind of out of the situation that they currently find themselves in.
And the goaltenders stand out here as our final comparison. Again, Bennu against Teme, both hanging in around that 80% save percentage, that kind of magical number that we look for goaltenders to hit. But Sin, again, I think both capable of a little bit more, but I wouldn't exactly look at them as perhaps say, the reason as to why these teams are in the spot that they're in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you look at both of these goaltenders, near that 80% mark, as you said, and where their teams are in the standings. That to me says that both these guys are giving their teams a chance to win more often than not. They're doing their part to try to keep their team in games, making the saves that they, are expected to make, and maybe even a little more so at times. And it's really up to the rest of their squad to be able to get them some goal support and play the solid defense in front of them as well. So I think this is the matchup here that's going to be kind of a bit. Maybe not the least interesting, but just like we kind of know what to expect from these guys that aren't often going to give up any soft goals and really give themselves, or give their teams a chance to win. It's just the X factor of which one's going to make some of those game changing big saves at key moments.
So with that, we are just a few moments away here from puck drop game 1 of 2 between these two clubs. Again, a reminder, a little bit later on, Roots Gaming taking on Stargazing as the bottom 4 teams in the Elite Division right now take center stage and look to turn their seasons around. It's not too late, but soon as we know, time winds down very, very fast in a
Mm-hmm.
30-game regular season. You don't have too much time once you're over that halfway point to really kind of adjust and get things back on course, but they're kind of in that sweet spot right now where they do have that little bit of time. So we'll see ultimately what happens there. We mentioned, of course, tomorrow is our pro division coverage here. Sid and I will be back this Wednesday, though, for more elite division coverage. So we hope you tune in then. Again, 1945 CEST as IQUE. Sin, if they don't pick up points today, they're probably, likely, if not really, going to struggle against Frölunda. Of course, right now, currently sitting second in the league, and then Goons and Sawo in a very interesting matchup as well. After both of those teams, are really kind of on the, the path to get a little bit of redemption after falling short in round 1 of the playoffs last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the head with IQUE. I think this matchup, especially, is so, so important for them. They have to figure out a way to get the goal scoring here. They have to figure out a way to get 4 points and try their best to prevent YMCA from getting things. They need to move their way up into the standings because it's not getting easier for Lunda, such a tough team. They're really going to be lucky if they're able to squeeze a couple points out of that matchup there. So that really makes today all the more important.
Absolutely. And I'm just trying to take a look at the schedule ahead for IQUE. And it's a bit of a rough one. As you would have seen, of course, they've played fewer games than other teams. They still have makeup games against Roots, H-Reds, and Goons. So not easy there. And ahead, of course, we know about the Frölunda matchup. After that, it's Urabro Hockey, Havu, Sawo, and Stargazing.
Wow.
We are in a situation where we could be talking about a team that finished 5th last year getting relegated, as surprising as that is. I don't think anybody would have predicted their struggles
Yeah.
this season.
I
Yeah,
was just
go
gonna
ahead.
say, yeah, especially if you look at their record. You look at the 3-8-1, you figure, okay, you probably played H-Reds, you probably played Frölunda, you probably played some of those top teams. You took a couple easy, I wouldn't say easy wins, but games that you weren't expected to win, and those are in the loss column. But yeah, to have not only Frölunda but H-Reds, but all Havu and Sawa, all those still in front of you, and to have the 3-8-1 record, yeah, it's just IQUE has found themselves in a very precarious position.
Again, the 5th seed last year, they took Färjestad to 6 games, a 21-8-1 record for IQUE last season. Same exact lineup. Not quite sure what's happened, but again, I think they've shown in the past that they do have that ability to step up and be a playoff caliber team. We'll see if they can get their season back on track here in this particular matchup. And on the other side for YMCA, again, it's also worth mentioning for them. They have a rather interesting history, of course, I'd say, as a team that's been able to hang around for the past few seasons, never dipping that far until recently in that direction of a potential relegation candidate. And it's a big matchup for them as well, because, again, looking at their schedule, they have, again, another makeup series against Roots. It's very interesting that both IQUE and YMCA still have to play Roots this season, but YMCA also still have to play H-Reds, Havu, Goons, and Stargazing. So very similar schedules for these two teams to finish up their season, and they are both in this rather precarious position of being the bottom two teams in the league right now. So this is the start, Sin, essentially. I mean, if one of these two teams can get all 4 points against the other, that really puts the other into that much more of a difficult situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say if YMCA is able to get, 2, 3 points in this matchup, or I mean, like you said, even the 4 points, that makes IQ's road near impossible to work their way out of a relegation position. This is the pivotal moment for IQ. They really almost have to get 3, 4 points out of this, preferably 4 points, and prevent YMCA from getting any points, because that's really the your biggest chance of working your way out of the hole that you've dug.
So we get a look there at the teams in the locker room. A power forward on the left-hand side for IQ with Niepi, the only kind of against the grain pickup playmakers at center, puck moving defensemen everywhere else. Again, as these teams prioritize really send that agility and the ability to dominate puck possession. Of course, we want to remind you, sportsgamer.gg, all the information that you're going to need on the Wilhelm e-hockey tour. Of course, stops every weekend that we have going on here, events every single weekend. So again, sportsgamer.gg for all the info that you need there. Also want to mention, of course, some of the other stuff that we have going on, including this, which continue to see some great clips out of this. We want to see the best and worst that NHL 22 has had to offer you. And of course, on Twitter and Instagram, use the hashtag eHockeyMoments, and you'll have an opportunity to win some IQ fuel. We are giving away a prize package every week until the end of June. So again, on Twitter and Instagram, use the hashtag eHockeyMoments, and you'll have the chance. Again, I'm looking at that Lettinen edition, and I'm wondering. Maybe we add that into the long list of things that we hope to one day get our hands on. Maybe, just maybe, we'll be so lucky and be so fortunate. We will see. Time will ultimately tell. But again, hashtag eHockeyMoments on Twitter and on Instagram. Send the teams are on the ice. Gigantic matchup here. IQ in their home teal, seafoam green, call it what you will, and YMCA in their road whites. A gigantic matchup again for both of these teams. We'll see how this plays out. Really an unthinkable situation with one of these two teams potentially landing in that dead last spot and getting automatically relegated. Good chance there. Great glove save as Benu's there to save the day on that short side shot.
Yeah, I like seeing that from Niepi, just grabbing the puck, taking a quick look, knowing that, he could have maybe tried to force a pass through with one of his skaters coming back in the zone, but just decided to rip it instead, and I like that.
Another decent look there. Yergely willing to throw it on, and an interesting moment or two there for YMCA, but they have a 2-on-1 going down the other way. Sokolow's pass across doesn't find the mark. Has it down low, wanted that wrap around, stifled by the stick, and Teme able to cover that. So both goaltenders, decent saves here in the first few minutes.
Yeah, looking to see them locked in. They don't, again, we talked in the pregame, they don't want to give up any kind of soft goals. They want to make the saves, continue to give their team a chance to win, as they have really done all season. It's really on the teams in front of them to get some goal support and defend well when they need to.
Loose puck up for grabs. Still fighting for it. There's Pottsberg, who's stepping up into the zone, but YMCA have it. JM loses it in the double team coverage. That's Nico who will slow things down. Hands off to Pottsberg again. 7 points on the season for Pottsberg with 3 goals. Good bit of contact there. And somehow in the 3-on-1, gonna end up being Angel Kuru. He sends that around the boards. Jam now in the corner, delayed call. Loose puck in front. Sokolow had a chance, and YMCA still have it, and a shot is denied. Power play coming up after some lucky bounces for YMCA to keep that puck alive, and so now you see the interference.
Yeah, he was going for the hit on the guy with the puck, but unfortunately someone else was in front of him. He got that bump away, so he'll sit for 2, and YMCA, tremendous chance after a nice bit of pressure there, as you said, capitalizing on the good fortune they received with the bounces. We'll see what they can do here with the power play.
Power play this season. 14th at 11%. IQ, the 12th ranked penalty kill. Certainly not as bad as you would think it might be for the team. Again, in 16th. If we get that early clear, YMCA forced to reset, and like that, half of this power play is over. Good movement here. Sokolo in front, they score! Well, he targeted JM on the pass there, Sim, but it found its way to Angel Kuru wide open on the other side, and it's 1-0 for YMCA.
Just a good bit of execution for YMCA. They work the perimeter, then they try to get to the middle, and it's a bouncing puck, sure, but all that relies on is positioning from Angel Kuru, sitting there on the doorstep, able to get a stick on it and blast that one home. Good job by YMCA to capitalize on that power play opportunity and now have a 1-0 lead.
A big early result there on the man advantage for YMCA Esports. It's IQ into an interesting situation here, even early on into this game. Not where you wanted to be. And giving up the opening goal is okay, but having it be from a shorthanded situation was less than ideal, as IQUE couldn't get that shot off. Contact over the line. We're not able to hold on to that one. Kept in. Jam around the back for Angel Kuru, and good bit of defense there by IQUE, but Sin, YMCA utilizing the boards very well in the attacking zone so far.
Yeah, and I really like that. You know, they're not, again, just trying to force the middle immediately. They're trying to do what they can to spread IQ's defense out, and so far it's working there. Sokolo with a quick shot on. See if he can test the angles of Teme there, but he gets the glove on it.
Sokolo again, the team leader in goals. 13. You can see why they're not afraid to test the netminder. 4-1 the faceoff so far for IQUE. With that 4-2 as that shot picked off by the defense. Led down the other way. Pottsburg to Yergelev. Step ahead of an offside call. 5:51 to go. Obviously a long way to go in this one. Just the first game of two between these two teams. Extremely valuable points up for grabs. This stage of the season, IQUE trying to get things going. Nieppe in front. Good job there by Julius to take that away. IQUE banks that one off the back of the net, trying to win it back. Kuru handled it well. YMCA getting going down the other way. What a pass. Back in front and picked off by the by the IQUE defense. Nieppe was back there to help. YMCA right back in the attacking zone. A blazing shot there from Juge at the point. Just missed its intended target.
Yeah, he was aiming for that blocker side. Had some spacers. You could see from the positioning of Teme. Just missed the net wide, but you can see why he has 4 goals on the season, and what a shot that was.
Jumping up in the play now with Sokolo, who again tries to feed it in front. At the final minute of play, it's IQUE down the other way. That shot blocked by his own man. Sokolo for Angel Kuru. He's on side. 6 seconds cutting in. Tried to get to the backhand. One more chance. The pass off the mark, and that will do it. YMCA Esports, a power play goal. We got to look, though, at some of the physicality from Yergelev of IQUE. Sin, of course, wearing the golden helmet as team leading scorer, and finding Angel Kuru, who's the team leading scorer for YMCA on the other side. But it's that goal right there that gives YMCA the lead.
Yeah, and YMCA really did a good job in that period. You know, they capitalized on the power play, but really it was their defense for me that really was impressing. It was hard pressed for IQUE to really make it over the line and gain any attacking time. You know, they had the 4 hits. They were trying to, get some offensive pressure for themselves, either on the forecheck, but just couldn't really find it here. In YMCA, that was a great period for them. 2 minutes time in attack, 5 registered shots, and of course that power play goal, as we mentioned. And overall, they seemed really comfortable on the ice, and IQUE just didn't quite have it. They couldn't quite find a way to really generate a whole lot offensively. If they want to try to, come back in this one, they're going to have to find some other way of being able to break down that defensive set of YMCA. YMCA, it's not quite an H-Reds team, so there are ways that you can probably beat their defense cleanly at the blue line, but so far, right there, again, IQUE turns it over.
The pass off the mark, YMCA. We're seeing a couple of shots from the point, but a lot of forced passes in front, and you can see why it's working. This is how they generated that first goal. IQUE now down the other way. And only momentarily. Great back-checking pressure from YMCA, really stifling the offense. Turnover here, though. Again, what a job done. Anhaukuru gets the feed from Sokolo, and he has it knocked loose. Talk about back-checking pressure. Pottsburg was able to get back. That actually might have been IQUE, the center. Covering. One of these days, we'll get indicators that don't look incredibly similar. But, you know, since it's a shame, there's only so many colors to pick from, apparently. Another great job there by Juge stepping in. Wrap around, clip the post. Nervous moments for IQUE. YMCA all over them in the attacking zone. Finally, a little bit of zone time. That shot deflects just wide. Great chance for IQUE. They win it back. Here's Niepi. His shot blocked. Pottsburg steps in to keep that one alive, but can't get it down low. Good pinch in there by Nico. Get Yergely there with him. Delayed call. Yergely still has it. Tried to cut back to the forehand. Can't make it, but the IQUE power play gets to go to work.
Yeah, kind of a mirror to what we saw in the first period. You know, IQUE finally get a little bit of zone time, as YMCA did in that first, and they forced a mistake out of their opponent, and that's going to be Anhaukuru, the center for YMCA, sitting for 2 minutes. This is a big opportunity for IQUE to capitalize on this power play opportunity and tie this game up.
See how this face-off goes. IQUE in that 12th ranked power play, 13th ranked PK of YMCA. That pass picked off by Sokolo, who clears it out. JM is going to try to give it a run for its money. Didn't carry around the boards. He'll lay off. It's IQUE trying to break in. They successfully do so. Yergely around the back. Pass in front again. Good save. Another pass and another shot broken up. Juge can't clear. Final 30 seconds of this power play. Loose puck, and Bennu is able to find it and cover. Some decent looks for IQUE, just not able to find the back of the net.
Yeah, some dangerous looks, especially down low when they tried to get that puck into the low slot there. Even when it was bouncing around, Bennu had to be sharp. But he was able to, you know, make the saves and get the covers when he needed.
That shot blocker save. Puck unable to be cleared as the power play is expiring. Fortunately, that pass off the mark, and we are indeed back to 5-on-5, although gaining the zone quickly again are IQUE. That shot, another kick save by Bennu. The attacking zone now, Julius in front, they score! 14th of the season for Sokolo. Sin, they survive a crucial kill and get that insurance goal. It's 2-0.
And that's just a prime example of a solid penalty kill, getting the job done and creating momentum the other way right there. Bennu was a huge part of that PK, as YMCA at times was struggling to kind of get that puck out of the zone. It was good job from IQUE to keep the play alive, but once they got that kill, I mean, off to the races the other way. A quick pass to the middle, and Sokolo makes no mistake going 5-hole, and YMCA have a 2-0 lead now. Here's the second, winds down in time.
7 minutes to play here in the second, and IQUE right now yet to find the back of the net. Had a great couple of chances on that power play. Heartbreak as they give up the goal in the immediate aftermath. And can't be understated enough, a playoff team last season. Another good save there by Bennu, all over that. His angle's on point. They got to find a way to get him moving or get that net front presence for a deflection. They nearly found success with it back in the, I think it was the first period. Might have been the early stages here of the second. Anhaukuru can't walk away with that one. Another chance here for IQUE off the side of the goal and then the back of it. Assaulting the exterior of the net, but that is not the goal. That pass off the mark again. They try to get back in. Anhaukuru onside. Back for JM. Can't get that shot off. And IQ having to reset pressure. Sokolo stepping up. Stifled as they try to enter the zone. Lose puck. They do recover. Here's Nico. Little bump takes him out of possession on Helkuru. Up the ice. Has help. Goes short side. And Teme is able to find it. With 37 seconds to go, YMCA nearly making this 3-0.
That was very, very close right there. He did a little nice play with the stick, using the man across the ice as bait for the pass, but fortunately his shot went off backhand. Had he been able to get forehand, I believe Teme started to move a little bit to his righty.
Whoa! That one off the bar. The deflection right off of the draw. Final 5 seconds, IQ across, they score! The narrative for this game heading into the third period has changed. Ikavalko's team leading 8th of the season. IQ are on the board, and they were seemingly just a few inches away from being down 3-0, but the bar giveth, the bar taketh, and all of a sudden we're tied. We're not tied, but we're within 1.
I mean, that's just an incredible swing once again, just like YMCA getting that goal off of the back of the penalty kill. IQ getting the goal off the back of a couple really close chances in their own end. The first one, which created the face-off, and then the shot off of the post as well, immediately off the ensuing face-off. And IQ, that is an absolutely massive goal. A nice counterattack of their own. And goodness gracious. What a response from IQ there, and just a great way to cut the deficit in half.
I mean, just a gigantic role reversal, turn of events, call it what you will. Obviously, the score not 1-0, but that close. I'd love to get a replay. I don't even know if we could, of the shot that hit the bar. YMCA were that close to a 3-0 lead, and instead we get another look at the 2-0 goal. And again, that shot that hits the bar, IQ get a new lease on life here in this game. 3-0 certainly seems like, sin, that would have been enough to put the game away. And instead now, I was hoping we get a look at the goal that got IQ on the board. But regardless, we ended the third period. It's just a 1-goal game.
Yeah, and this is... You know, it's, if they got that third goal, I think you definitely could have safely said that this game was put away. I mean, it's still going to be a struggle. You know, IQ is a team that doesn't score a whole lot of goals, so even getting the second one has been a task for them a lot of times over the course of this season.
Shot, and they stop by Teme. Battle for the puck behind the net. IQ who come up with it. We go for Niepi, a bit too much traffic. That pass picked off, but one back. Here's on Helkuru now. 2-on-1. Sokolo's shot denied. A good save there by Teme. Niepi cutting back. The lone power forward looking to protect. He rifled that pass up to the point. Nobody home. IQ going to look to get right back in on the attack. 5 men on the line here for YMCA. Niepi again couldn't hold on to that one. On Helkuru's pass. Just way all the way back. Julius tries to get to the forehand, has to go back. Pass in front from Kuru's picked off. Ikavalko leading the way. This puck recovered, pass in front, still hanging around and taken away now by JM. Already 7 minutes gone here in this third period. ECL Elite Division action brought to you by our friends at Wilhelm, Wilhelm Lacourti, and ST Hockey. It is a 2-1 scoreline here for YMCA. They scored the first 2 goals of this game. It's IQ looking to battle back, space up the middle, and it's in! Ikavalko has tied this game. Sin, I saw the ref charging towards goal. Relief for IQ as he signifies we have a tie game.
That's just absolutely massive. A couple huge goals from Ikavalko here down the stretch for IQ, and just like that, they are all tied up, and that one just snuck in. And yeah, with the amount of contact that could have perhaps, been ruled that goaltender interference, but it did go in time before, all that contact would have taken place. So good goal and a tie game now for IQ, and YMCA maybe got to be reeling a little bit. They had 2 goals. It's now tie game, but they have a 2-1 developing here. What a play defensively.
Well, IQ from 2-0 down have tied this one up. We are midway through the 3rd period. Both teams, as Sin mentioned in the pregame, need to look to put this game away. In regulation, specifically, though, IQ is a good save. Good set of saves for Teme. Got a little bit of space for Niepi. 3 defenders to deal with. He still has it. Goes down low. Ikavalko. Good movement here. Shot, save, second chance. Nearly swept in by Yergely. Battle of 15 and YMCA against 16 IQ. That shot block. Second chance on Halkuru. Couldn't get that one to go. Picks that pass off in front. Big save. Second chance and Teme. Great performance for the IQ netminder to keep them in this one.
You guys had to make some tough saves here down the stretch as YMCA really kind of pushing here to be able to take that lead back and almost feeling a little bit of desperation from them, which is good. We definitely need to see a lot more of that from them down the stretch here as they try to, avoid one of those relegation spots.
Offside call there. Just over 5 minutes to play. Again, the gap in terms of games between these two teams certainly a factor. 8 points ahead are YMCA at this stage. So again, you see why IQ need to win in a regulation. It goes in from the point. Pottsburg. 3 unanswered goals for IQ, and they grab the lead with less than 5 to play.
I'm not even sure how that went in. Did that hit off something, or did it just somehow... Oh, goodness. I think it just... A changeup finds its way into the back of the net there. If you're IQ, you'll definitely take it. Pottsburg, his 4th of the season here, and if YMCA wasn't reeling before, they certainly are now. What a goal, and they've really got to try to now just get this game tied back up.
The unfortunate double chop keeps the puck alive for YMCA. Rocket pass in front picked off by Niepi. Under 3.5 to go. 3 unanswered goals for IQ. In the last 20 minutes or so of game time. And a very late goal in the 2nd period helped them get their offensive game in line. Being outshot, Teme's made the saves he's needed to make. It's IQ in possession. Good poke check, though, by JM. Nico able to get that one to the neutral zone. Yergely still fighting for it. Niepi's with him. Big hit, no penalty. As we approach the final minute. Miscommunication between Angel Kuru and Sokolo. Sokolo, though, heavy forechecking pressure with JM. And they need it. They're running low on time. Here's Pottsburg and an offside call. 48.5 to play in regulation.
Time ticking away, and YMCA need a goal now to get the game back tied up. They have to be full desperation mode right here, and more importantly, try to get possession. IQ, just what a response, but it's a rough turnover in the neutral zone. We'll see what YMCA can do with it.
Here's Julius Shuge down the board. Shot, deflection, bid there for Angel Kuru. Another save by Teme. Pottsburg can't hold on to it. Loose puck behind the net. JM for Sokolo. Julius has it in front. Sokolo. Kuru scores! With 23 to go, YMCA stop the bleeding. We're tied at 3. And a gigantic goal that might just seal a point for both of these two teams.
That was a beautiful bit of execution from YMCA. They realized the situation. They knew they had a job to do, and you saw the pinches coming out. Juga on that left-hand side was incredible keeping that puck in. Integral in that goal happening from his effort to keep that forecheck alive. And YMCA looking like they want to go for more.
This one's going to go back. Teme was forced into a save there. Final rush for IQUE, trying to win this in regulation. 4 seconds in front. Kuru clears. And indeed, IQUE storm back to earn a point. But YMCA's late equalizer secures a very important point for them as well, and less than ideal for IQUE, again, for the team that's directly in front of them in the standings.
Yeah, definitely. But, at this point, they can't really worry about that. The situation is what it is. So all your effort has to be focused on, what you can control, and that's getting this extra point right now. Again, you still need points. Yeah, it'd be great to deny, other teams points here, but you don't find yourself in that situation anymore, unfortunately. But you can take a lot of positives from this. The burst of kind of offensive pressure that they were able to get, those 3 unanswered goals. That's great. If you could just prevent, YMCA from getting off to the kind of start that they did, you find yourself in good shape. And, if they're able to find this game winner, that's a goal output really that they haven't seen too often this season. Again, they're only averaging about 1.5 goals for per game this season. Just, coming into today, 18 goals for in the 12 games played that they had. So they're really going to be looking here to get that offense going at least one more time and secure that extra point. But again, both these teams have a lot to play for as they find themselves currently in those relegation spots. So, YMCA is going to be just as desperate and just as hungry.
The puck dumped in and offside call follows. Each team now battling for that extra point to be earned. Sudden death overtime rules. We'll stick with this for as long as we need to. Until we have a winner. We have deemed this Marathon Mondays in the past. Let's see if this game lives up to that or if we'll find a relatively quick winner here. This game started off with a 2-0 lead for YMCA. That is a trip. IQUE going to the power play here in the early stages of this OT.
And that's Sokolo going to the box there, a little bit too aggressive and a little out of position for that poke. And now IQUE have a chance to end things right here, right now. They got to be careful. Remember, the last power play when it went by the wayside led to a YMCA counterattack goal here. So we'll see what IQUE, if they're able to kind of right that ship and get some momentum here of their own or find the game winner.
At the point now, looking the Epi back for Pottsburg. Has a goal, nearly had the winner. The Epi has it again. Good protection. That shot, glove save. Bennu able to stick with Ikavalko there.
Really nice bit of pretty skating from Niepi right there to guard the puck in that higher slot, and then you find the pass over all the way there for the one-time option. And fortunately, didn't work out perfectly as they wanted, but nonetheless, great bit of edge work by Niepi.
That shot blocked down. JM clears the zone. Technically, went out of play. I think it went off the face of one of the players on the bench. Don't see that too often. Face off, back in the attacking zone. IQUE have it. That shot save, loose puck out to the corner. Ikavalko with the buffer shot. Here's Niepi again. See what Yergely can do below the goal line. That pass, worst case scenario, all the way out of the zone, and looks like that IQUE one chance to try and get established before we're back to 5-on-5. YMCA gave him a lot of space, though. That pass off the mark and missed opportunities on that power play for IQUE. That shot saved by Teme through the traffic.
Yeah, and almost a very similar situation to the first power play where YMCA come right back down and get a pretty good scoring chance out of it. Don't capitalize that time, but an offense's own face-off here to try to compound some of that momentum.
Puck back to the neutral zone. YMCA looking to get that crucial extra point of separation, but they ice the puck here with a big face-off coming up in their own zone.
Yeah, it could spell trouble for them if IQUE are able to win this. I don't know, they've looked okay at times in that offensive zone, but YMCA doing a pretty good job keeping them to the perimeter so far.
Face-off win. That shot just wide. Pottsburg tried to get that in front. Shuge all over it. Stretch pass. We'll go for another icing.
Yet another chance for IQUE here. It's these little tiny mistakes can eventually perhaps lead to your demise here. So YMCA definitely going to be looking to clean that up as this overtime goes along.
Off the face-off, what a chance! May have clipped the blocker of Bennu. Still there in front, Yergely. Not able to keep that possession alive. Both goaltenders, we said heading into this one, didn't look like they could be blamed for losses in a general sense, and certainly living up to that observation. They have been fantastic in this game despite the 3 goals against. This puck into the zone. Julius now. We'll look for that long outlet pass to Sokolo, who does a great job to gain the zone. Can't hold on to it. See what Nieppe can do again to protect. His shot, and just out of the reach of Yergely in front. We've seen crazier pickups than that would have been. Unfortunate for IQ. Continue to win those battles in the corners. They do time that well to gain the line, but it's 1 back. Under 6.5 to play in OT1, and another offside call here against YMCA.
Kind of turned into a bit of a hectic, loose puck war here, especially in the neutral zone. Very hard to kind of be able to gain the line with any sort of semblance of clean possession here. So both these teams definitely going to start looking for kind of alternate methods to be able to gain the line and look for some chances out of that. We saw some dump and chases attempted by, well, mostly YMCA. We'll see if they kind of go back to that here.
That pass off the mark. Nieppe again in control, leading it up ice. One-timer blocked. Good look for Pottsburg, though. Nieppe has it back again, and I thought had a clean shooting lane there, and again elected to pass. I think an instance of someone kind of wanting the play to develop the way they wanted it to develop rather than just taking what was there.
Yeah, definitely. There wasn't really a clean lane over to that one-time option, although it would have been a great chance had it been there. But yeah, I have to agree, the shot right there in that scenario could have been a good option. They had some traffic in front.
Opportunity here now, perhaps. Nico's shot just wide. Again, they had success. Their 3rd goal, IQ, it was Pottsburg, a shot from the point. Here's another one. Good block, though, by JM. Pottsburg again. That one just deflects. Nieppe can't hold on to it. YMCA will reset. We are in a real-time 2 minutes here. Still a lot of time to work with. IQ continuing to dictate play here. Nieppe hold on to it for a bit too long. A bit of contact there. Loose puck. Sokolo will be able to settle that one down.
You got steamrolled, bud.
Good hit there in center ice, but YMCA still in possession. They dump it in. Nobody there to give chase. There's the quick outlet. What a deflection! But Yergely couldn't hold on. It was nearly the bounce of all bounces for IQ. Final minute now. YMCA again struggling to really get anything going. Pass again broken up. Nieppe can't hold it. That one dumped into the far side. Timed well in terms of being onside. Nico will at the very least clear it out. Pass for Sokolo broken up, and we'll have an offside call here. 20 seconds to go.
Yeah, game kind of definitely settled down. Both these teams really an emphasis on defense here now, not wanting to give up that game winner. You can definitely clearly see how much mentally this extra point is, just so important to both of these squads here. Big hit there in the neutral zone. Could create a counterattack, but Shuga did a good job of breaking that one up.
Final 6 seconds here. IQ around the back. Nobody home. We said it had Marathon Monday potential. Double overtime coming up here in just the first game of 2 between YMCA Esports and IQUE.
Yeah, and if this is any sort of indication of how close this set is going to be, this could be You know, the first game in a very long series between these two teams. It's been quite even. I think, you know, IQ jumped out to the time on attack lead right there, and but it's really had to do with, you know, how good their defense really started to develop there. And at the blue line especially, YMCA was really struggling to get that puck in. When they did get it in, YMCA have looked good on the attack and on the forecheck and being able to generate chances, and IQ's kind of, you know, taking that in stride and now are keeping them from really even getting into the zone. And you know, it's going to be tough for both of these teams to find that game winner, but it might have to, you know, come down to taking an extra risk here or there, because, you know, keeping your opponent, you know, from scoring is definitely one thing, but obviously to end the game, you do have to score.
Double overtime underway, still looking. Who is going to be the hero in this one? Sense for both of these teams, every game down the stretch here has to feel like it has playoff importance. In a sense it does, unfortunately perhaps relegation playoff importance. He's going to go all the way down, no icing of course, in IQ. Going to get things going down the other way. They're onside, what a pass, and again an extra pass. And at this point, struggling to understand some of the decision-making here from IQ, because we have seen them play better than this, especially last season. Opportunity here, though. Nieppe on the backhand. Now in the corner, feeds to Sokolo. The ball go to Pottsburg at the point. Shot deflection, bid for Nieppe, great chance. Another shot again, deflected just wide. Great opportunities there, though. And it's coming from them just letting the puck fly. Good bit of defense. Perhaps trouble here. Julius stepping in for YMCA. IQ trying to maintain possession and at least clear the zone, and they do. That outlet pass picked off by Pottsburg. He gains the line. Nico Volko, pass back. Here's Nico. Down for Nieppe. Big power forward trying to hold on to this one. I mean, you could tell where he wanted to go. He wanted that wraparound, got a chance at it. Zocalo can't hold on to it. We are already through, or halfway through, the second overtime. So much better looks for IQ here in the last few minutes.
Yeah, and YMCA really just struggling to even gain the line here. And what a forecheck!
Unfortunately, Yergely just couldn't pick it up, but he does draw the call as he was hit after being unable to recover that puck. Tough break for Julius. I mean, not much you can do there. You just got to play it as it looks like it's going to play out. And here is a tremendous chance now for IQ to win this one.
Yeah, they have to make YMCA play right now. You've been on there, but you've been on them really from the start of this second overtime here. So it's time to be able to capitalize on this. You've been generating a ton of momentum.
Good face-off win there, but it's held in. Nico. Pottsburg pinching it back to Nico. Can't get through the traffic, and the puck is cleared. Teme plays that one. Nieppe, good pass across for Yergely. Again, back to the point. Nico, Pottsburg tried to go back to Nico. And a good job there by Angel Kuru to force the offside.
Yeah, the penalty kill from YMCA in this game has been great so far. Not only have they killed him off, but they've been able to, you know, get some counterattacks after it's killed. It's giving them momentum here too, and it's almost looking like that's going to be the same story here so far, at least in this power play. IQ just not able to get the chances they need.
They are in the attacking zone here now. Nieppe. Down the back, and a shot. Yergely denied. Nieppe scores! IQ come back to win it in double overtime. They secure a very important second point for their season. A great shot by Nieppe, fourth of the year, and perhaps none bigger than that.
Yeah, just a great decision by him to pull the trigger there. You can see Benno was playing the cross crease. He began to come out. You can see right there, he starts to slide to his left. Basically expecting the pass to come, because that's what IQ's been doing essentially all game long. But that time, Nieppe pulls the trigger, gets the game winner, and IQ, a come-from-behind victory here in this first game. of 2 between these two clubs, and a huge extra point for them moves them up to 4-8-1 on the season. A small step in the long road back to recovery, but they may be getting started here.
Yeah, a big result, 4-3 in double overtime. The winner, Nieppe, gets IQ again, a very valuable point. They're now up to 9 on the season with quite a few games at hand. So you get a look there. The shots close, time on attack, not so much. So we'll get another look at these goals. And again, it was a very strong start in this game for YMCA Esports. They had that 2-0 lead.
Absolutely, and it's tough for them to give that up, but IQ played better as the game kind of went on. Well, it's exceptionally, they got more possession here. I think, what we talked about in the beginning when we were looking at those winger comparisons are like, yeah, none of these guys really shoot a whole lot. We definitely saw that at times, particularly from YMCA down the stretch. Their forwards especially, had chances to shoot, look for that extra pass, and oftentimes it didn't pan out, but what I really liked was the play of Nico and Pottsburg back on the point. They continually just were willing to throw pucks on as we get another look at that 5-hole goal that slid through. And then here were the 3 unanswered come away from IQ here. And, again, I really kind of like what we saw. This one, a forced pass through the middle and it worked out. It was a pretty solid play right there. And unfortunately for YMCA, 3 guys in the lane, and the pass still makes it through 56. Who was that? Julius right there, probably feeling a little bit robbed in that situation. But other than that, breakaway kind of chance here. He's able to slide that one through a couple of sticks, and he's able to hold on to it and power his way through. But this one was the one that I really liked. Pottsburg, it's not a tremendous look or anything, but he just like, all right, I'm throwing this one on net. There's some traffic out front. I got a man there. And it somehow just finds its way in. And that's exactly kind of what IQ, I think, should be looking to do a little bit more of here in the second game, is pull the trigger. Forwards especially. We saw the defensemen, a lot of D2D one-timers between them, some shots just from the point, hoping for some traffic in front, is obviously that Angel Kubru goal was the game tire, but this is the one. Essentially, you see Benna moving out of position right there. It's like he was, again, waiting for a one-time pass. That's the only really explanation for that, as Benna has been tremendous on his angles and in position all season long. It's maybe he was, sitting on that potential one-timer. So I like that decision from Nieppe to pull the trigger right there. He could have tried to force a pass over. We've seen them try to force pass overs, but he took the shot and ended up getting the game winner for it.
I guess it's the argument, Sin, in terms of that strategy. Do you keep forcing passes because eventually a goalie might just come to expect that, and hey, you might score in the process? Or is it better to take advantage of those shooting lanes? And would that shooting lane have been there had they not forced the pass? Who knows? At the end of the day, 4-3 IQ in double overtime. We'll be back in just a moment for the second game of 2. Might want to grab a drink or some popcorn, maybe a blanket. We could be here for a while if that first game is anything to go off of. All right, everybody, we are back, and again, a big thank you for sticking with us. A big thank you to the likes of Wilhelm, Kovan Lakratzi, and ST Hockey, of course, for sponsoring this season, this year of the ECL Elite Division. Sin, before we get ready for this next game between these two teams, I don't know if we have the updated standings just yet, although, of course, we'll throw it to it anyway, because obviously we can, just kind of fill people in on what the situation is now. And indeed, it looks like, you see the playoff teams on that left-hand side, but indeed, it is updated, especially on that right-hand side. As you get a look now, IQ up to 9 points in 13 games. Not horrifically far off the pace set by the team now directly ahead of them in the form of Stargazing, who, again, we'll see in action a little bit later on against Roots. It really does feel like we can see a lot of movement there at the bottom of the standings throughout this broadcast.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's going to take IQ to continue to collect those kind of points. Otherwise, they could find themselves still holding on to that dead last position. Those, the 2 points that they just got were absolutely massive. But, had they been able to kind of keep, YMCA from gaining that point, they would have been stuck at 15. It would have been perhaps a little bit easier to kind of leapfrog them, over the course of things. But, if you're IQ, you really got to kind of, just take what you can, take what's given to you. And in that one, they were able to get those 2 points.
So heading into this next game, I want to talk about, of course, what it's going to take for YMCA Esports. It was an interesting game for them. They started off very strong with that 2-0 lead, but as the game went on, they started to get less and less sustained offensive pressure. The game just kind of got away from them. It looked like they might be able to kind of get things going again once they tied it late in the third, but really, even in that overtime, there weren't too many examples of that sustained offensive zone time for them. What do you
Yeah.
think it's going to take heading into this next game to kind of get that consistency down?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. IQ did a much better job of kind of holding the blue line, sure, but it was
So we might be experiencing some technical
yeah, it was kind of hard to
difficulty here,
say.
perhaps. As I think we're good now. Since I'm not sure if that's a connection issue or what it is. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. I will remind you, if you can, of course, a shout out to Wilhelm and the e-hockey tour. And again, we want to hear from you guys the best and worst moments of NHL 22 that you might have on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure to use the hashtag eHockeyMoments. We'll be giving away some IQ fuel every week until the end of June. So again, your best and worst moments from NHL 22. Use the hashtag eHockeyMoments. And you might be the lucky recipient. Look at that. I want to get my hands on the Sebastian Aho edition just as a collector's item. I don't even know if I'd drink it. It's probably delicious. That's my guess. As we move on, the game getting ready to start. YMCA in their home red, IQ in those road whites. Very important game here again for both of these teams. And we will see what happens here now after the 4-3 double overtime victory for IQ in that first game. Again, a little bit later on in this broadcast, you would have seen them also towards the bottom of the standings, Roots Gaming and Stargazing. As it just so happened to play out for today's broadcast, again, a lot of this is scheduled in advance. It just so happens that these four teams happen to find themselves in a rather interesting, similar situation. Especially, again, all of them having to play one another towards the end of the season. A lot of high-pressure games for these teams. As it's IQ in the attacking zone. Pottsburg to Nico. Good block there by Julius. YMCA trying to get things going. Here's on Hokuru. Had the game-tying goal late in the third period of game one. Here now again, the Epi. Big power forward build, emphasizing puck protection. Didn't work out there, though. There's JM now, head of steam into the attacking zone, sends it around, read perfectly by Niepi. He knew exactly what was coming. That pass across, again, nobody home. Juge defended well. Bit of space, and fortunately Sokolo couldn't hit JM on the pass. Okay, we'll look to reset here. And nowhere for IQ to go. Good defense through the neutral zone for YMCA in the opening stages of this game, looking rather similar to what we saw in the first period of game one, as that shot gets blocked and kicked all the way back to the neutral zone. Space, perhaps, for Niepi. Throws one on, deflected, and they score. Taking advantage of the break, of the bounce, and the opening goal for IQ, it's Yergely.
Really like that decision from them to just kind of rip that from the point and get the deflection. A beautiful deflection goes over the pad and the glove of the Bennett there in net, and IQ coming away with an early lead. They didn't have that in the last game, and if they're able to build on that, they can find themselves in really good shape if they can defend the way they did down the stretch in that first game.
Right back in on the attack, Yergely. Couldn't hold on to that one, but big result for IQ. with the opening goal here, forcing YMCA to respond, and Julius nearly did with that shot from the point. Stepping up now. Zavalko can't throw that one on goal, trying to hold on to it. Here's Niepi. Force doesn't go. Genjuga able to defend that one very well. Will force to drop it back. They do time it. It's onside. Angel Kuru. Julius can't get that pass back down. Can't hold the zone either. Offside with 5:43 to play here in the first.
And YMCA once again kind of struggling to get that sustained offensive pressure, and yeah, might kind of put them in a rough spot here down the stretch if they're not able to get back to that. And IQ continues to play the way they are, chipping away and getting goals every now and then, although pretty big trip right off the draw right there. Yergely will be headed to the box. We'll see what YMCA can do with this delayed call.
Fortunately, not much. The offside there rather quickly, but they will go to the power play. As you mentioned, Yergely going to the box. We'll see what they can do now with this opportunity. Good chance here to tie this one up, perhaps. Fortunately, they don't win that draw, and fortunate break there as well for Niepi. Not able to hold on to it. Maybe a short-handed power kill situation, trying to put the pressure on the team. And there we go. Here's Niepi. Has two people to beat. Tried to just let that slap shot go. The defense closed in a bit too fast, having their own miscommunications there. Down to 50 seconds on the YMCA power play. Good movement. Loose puck in front. Lotsberg for Nico. He's able to get it back at least to center ice. Final 10 seconds on Helkuru. Held in down low, thrown in front, bouncing around, and Tame finds it as we are back to 5-on-5.
Dangerous opportunity there. Jam was right in front. The loose puck seemingly sitting right there in front of him for the taking, trying to get a stick on it, but Teme puts the glove on and freezes it.
Off the face-off, it is Niepi. Able to recover that one. No icing there, and we approach the final 90 seconds of this first period. Julius takes the hit, trying to hold on to it. Zavalko's there. Lotsberg put into a rough situation, but was able to get that pass away. Great pressure from YMCA, but now perhaps a bit of space for IQ. Great poke check by Julius to deny that opportunity.
Yeah, and YMCA trying to tighten up a bit at the blue line here. Prevent as many zone entries as possible. You can see the physicality coming up from IQ. 5 hits to 0, and I don't remember the totals from last game, but you know, I feel like IQ definitely playing a bit more of a physical style than YMCA is.
Chance for Angel Kuru, poked away. It'll be a 1-0 lead for IQ at the end of the first period, thanks to this goal from Yergely.
Just a really good start for IQ. Exactly what they wanted. I love that decision. Once again, just throwing that puck on net from distance. Deflection works, and you know, maybe that's kind of a sign for IQ of the direction that they want to start taking their offense in. A few more shots here. You know, we talked about it a little bit in the pregame, how the wingers don't have a ton of shots. You know, we talked about it a bit as that game went on, and even still in that one, just the 2 registered shots. One of them ended up being a goal. Not a whole lot for either team in that period here, but you know, definitely I think both of these teams should be looking to do that perhaps a bit more, like the set plays, the higher percentage chances. You know, they're great when they're there, but sometimes they're not there, and when you're struggling to kind of, you know, score and get some wins, sometimes, yeah, putting that puck on net again can just help you out mentally in that, you know, you're doing something offensively, you're generating something offensively, you're, you know, slowly but surely gaining some stats here and there. So we'll see if these teams want to try to do that here a bit more in the second period.
And a 4-3 double overtime victory for IQ in game 1, picking up that valuable extra point. They're in the lead here. It'd be surprising if 1 goal is enough insurance, as Angel Kuru nearly got that pass. Good defense there by Nico. There is the next goal. Very important to see who gets it. Nico's shot, good save by Bennu. Nico sends that one around. 3 members there for IQ chasing. Ikavalko. Nico nearly held that one in. It does go offside.
Yeah, unfortunate animation from right there. He would have had to probably try to blindly one-touch past that to keep it in, and definitely, I think, made the right call of trying to maintain possession instead there, and instead of another loose puck at that blue line here, so we'll take the neutral zone draw.
See, dump and chase there. YMCA. Not able to get that one back. That was Pottsburg again. IQ's defenders have done a really good job in the corners. No icing here. YMCA continue to look for their first goal of this game. Poke check there by Niepi. Good job to protect there as well. And a trip is drawn. Ikavalko gets it to Pottsburg, who turns it over. But now it's IQ who will get the chance on the man advantage.
And this could be big for them. Again, they didn't have a ton of luck with it in the first game, but they have a 1-goal lead in this one. So, you never kind of know what can happen with this. They're able to capitalize again, and that puts a lot more pressure onto YMCA. And we saw kind of what happened last time. When YMCA was sort of under pressure, they tried to play into IQ, and IQ was able to shut them down on the blue line.
Pottsburg, and again, that shot just blocked down in front, and thought we were going to have an equalizer with the way he fell, but and indeed we do, actually. The ref there with his arm up and finally pops up on the scoreboard. It'll be a 4-on-3. 2 penalties taken by IQ. I only saw the one. Sin, I clearly missed something there, but
yeah,
it's going to be a 4-on-3 power play for YMCA.
What a quick swing that was. Yeah, unfortunately, the game doesn't show us 2 infractions at once, but yeah, we'll see a 4-on-3.
We'll save that for great games of the past, like NHL 2K10.
Yep.
YMCA holding this one in. Look for being on the kill to a power play 4-on-3. Good job there by Sokolo. Julius. And a good interception there by Nico, and he clears. 45 seconds to go. It's now 5-on-3. Angel Kuru fresh out of the box. Got the feet in front. Good chance there for JM on both sides of the goal. But that puck is cleared. And we have a successful kill. Brings us back to 5-on-5. Just about halfway through regulation. Still a 1-0 lead intact for IQ. YMCA trying to find some clean outlet passes here. Good job, though, by IQ, leaving them absolutely no room. Space in behind. Here's Ikavalko. Across, scores! Out of nowhere, IQ have their insurance goal. What a pass to set that one up. That was actually Pottsbergson on the feed, pinching in. I mean, he's shown his proclivity to step up at times, and that's why. What a tremendous pass.
That was an absolutely sick play from Pottsburg, reading the situation, but it all started with the tremendous neutral zone press of IQ to deny YMCA from getting those zone looks, and then Pottsburg just, as you said, jumped in the play, and well, here comes IQ again.
He just kind of sauced it on goal. Nearly picked up his own rebound off the pad of Bennu, who makes a very, very important save at this stage of the game.
Absolutely. YMCA really on the ropes here. IQ with a 2-0 lead, getting to the later stages of the second period. But yeah, again, that Pottsburg play to jump in and then the beautifully slick pass all the way across to find Yergely, who tucks it home.
And they score again! Niepi, 3-0 IQ here in the second period. In a blink and you'll miss it goal. And this is the IQ that we came to expect. And look at that, Sin. I mean, they were looking for it so close, and they go back to the well, rightfully so, and it pays off. A great shot along the ice, deflected high.
Absolutely, and I got to give it up to the IQ defensive pairing in this game. Nico and Pottsberg have been tremendous, not only on the defensive side of things, but they really seem to be the catalysts for this team offensively, getting points, either goals or assists. And, well, here comes IQ once again. They're not done.
Step in to keep that one alive. 5.5 minutes remaining in the second period. IQ 3-0. Doing what YMCA couldn't do in that first game, getting that extra goal. A good net drive from JM, runs out of space, but a power play. Coming up one more time here for YMCA. Jurgeli to the box again.
Yeah, and YMCA need to capitalize on this. They absolutely need to be able to capitalize on this. Stop the bleeding, but not only that, get themselves just inching back closer on the scoring sheet here. They've had really no offense to speak of since, well, the first 2 periods of the first game here, and maybe this could be the spark, but IQ get it, and they're attacking themselves shorthanded. Oh, the poke makes them go offside.
Just broke that up, but a good way to start. The clock still showed 2 minutes on the man advantage. 12 seconds properly tick off the clock this time. And again, it's the Epi. Had to feather one in front to Ikavalko. And the work that those two forwards are putting in right now as the puck is cleared all the way down. No pressure on the defense. Picture perfect start here for IQ on this PK. As Yuge able to feed that for JM, loses it. Pottsberg trying to hold. Still holding on to it. Can't clear that one. Arcs over the top of the crease. We are back to 5-on-5. Picture perfect PK for IQ. We have less than 2 minutes to go here. In this period, stretch pass misses 2 targets. No icing, though. And we hit the final minute of play. And it's in! A mistake from Bennu and YMCA. 4-0 now in favor of IQ.
Oh, no, that is worst case scenario right there, as the pass somehow goes back all the way to the goal, and it looked like Bennu was couldn't quite tell, but it almost looked like he had slid over in the hug the post animation on the left-hand side.
He did. I don't know if it was an attempt to hug the post on the other side as opposed to just going butterfly. My appeal to YMCA here, if anyone's following the stream, then we get a look at that. As painful as it might be, it is now 4-0 for IQ heading into the third period, which just goes from bad to worse.
Yeah, and if you're IQ, this is tremendous. Exactly what you kind of wanted out of the situation here. Yeah, it's like he slid over to that left-hand side. I'm not exactly too sure what happened. It was a weird errant pass back there, and I don't know. It's almost like maybe he thought it was going to go wide, so he wanted to get out of the way of it so he wouldn't misplay it, but there wasn't really any pressure on him. It's definitely kind of an odd scenario how that happened, and of course we don't get a very, very clean look at it, and we obviously not trying to throw anyone under the bus here, but yeah, we're just trying to find some understanding in this one of how the wheels have just kind of fallen off here for YMCA down the stretch, especially these last 2 goals especially.
It's 4 goals on 6 shots now for IQ. And potential backbreaker of a prior goal. We'll see what happens here in the third period. Crazier things have happened. But IQ not looking like they're going to be giving up that forechecking pressure in the Epi. Can't get that pass through. This would be a tremendous result for IQ. All 4 points while holding YMCA to just 1. And again, a very important matchup for both of these teams coming up. It's our second series we'll be covering. Stargazing taking on Roots. So a very important matchup. Again, no icing. Pass in front, scores! What patience on display. Ikovolko makes it 5. And Sin, I mean, that fourth goal, as rough as it was, might not even matter at this stage. I mean, YMCA would need 3 before it was even in the conversation, and then they allow that one.
I mean, just a tremendous job down low from IQUE once again, and they continue to capitalize on what's being given to them, and I like that. Not trying to force anything anymore, and just a beautiful work to get that puck out to Ikovolko in front, and of course he just waits out Benna, puts it home on the glove side, and 5-0 now for IQUE, and you got to think that should definitely be enough with just 16:01 left in this third, and well, with the way YMCA haven't really been able to generate a whole lot.
Absolute heartbreak for YMCA with this performance. It all kind of goes back to that first game, and they were up 2-0. Rough offside there. They were up 2-0, and the wheels have just kind of, in a sense, fallen off ever since. Yeah. 15 minutes to go still here in this third period. At this point, YMCA playing to think of the goal differential factor that could very much be in play at the end of this season with how close these teams are. Again, if a team is even on points at the end of the season, the team that has the better goal differential has that tiebreaker. We've seen it come into play before for playoff spots. That one poked. Teme plays it out. One back to the point now. Julius. Kuro that one off the pipe. Sokolo that close to finding YMCA's first breakthrough. Glove save, flashing the leather off the attempt from JM.
Yeah, and talk about a string of bad luck here for YMCA. A post-hit after everything that's kind of gone on for them in this game. You just got to be feeling some type of way after it's kind of gone by the wayside. Even then, I mean, the first time they really get some solid offensive pressure and, off the post right there after an own goal and some of the bounces, just got to be a rough feeling for them.
And this is shaping up to be a tremendous result for both Roots and Stargazing. Certainly not what YMCA needed, this being their 20th game of the season, again, out of 30. This certainly opens the door for IQUE to get right back into the conversation for avoiding that relegation spot. YMCA will go to the power play here. The center, Ikovolko, called for a hook. But then this will set up IQUE on 11 points in 14 games, which will be on a similar pace to Stargazing, who are on 16 games played and 15 points. So, in theory, if IQUE can make the most now of these games that they have at hand, well, it will still likely end up being a far worse season than they ever expected. Certainly not a lock for finishing dead last and being automatically relegated at this stage.
Yeah, as YMCA just want to try to get something on this power play, and almost getting down low. There's a beautiful poke coming out from Yergely, and we're going to get this going the other way.
Nieppe, Pottsburg stepping up in a shorthanded situation. The confidence on display from IQUE. This is the type of performance that we really expected from them heading into the season based off of the result from last year. We are back to 5-on-5, 7 minutes to go here in regulation. And upon the conclusion of this game, we'll have a brief intermission before returning again with those two games between Roots Gaming and Stargazing. For Stargazing's first season here in the Elite Division. And looking to avoid hitting that automatic relegation spot as some teams have. Likes of Gordon Hockey in the prior season. What a play by Nieppe. Doesn't have the speed, though, as that larger power forward. 3.5 to go. YMCA, the numbers. JM loses it. Nothing doing for YMCA Esports in this one. Here come IQUE. That shot taken to the chest by Bennu, and he'll cover.
I mean, pretty dominant performance from IQUE, and if this is the turning point in their season, I mean, what a start it is, and at the very least, this is a whole lot of confidence for them moving forward, especially on the offensive side of things, where they've struggled the most over the course of this season so far.
Again, now the final 90 seconds of this game, and they weren't done. IQUE gets the feed and makes no mistake, 6-0 in favor of IQUE. Is this going to be that launching pad that they needed to get this season back on track? 4 points secured for them here tonight.
I mean, you make a great point right there, as we've kind of been alluding to, like, what is going to be the turning point for them? Is this the launching point? Well, 6 goals, 4. It's definitely going to start to turn those stats around, and it's, again, a bit of a monkey off of your back as well. You know, you've been struggling to score kind of all season. You're only averaging 1.5 goals, 4. Simply not going to be enough, and with this kind of game, it's starting to turn around that goal differential. It's, you know, giving you an idea of what's working for you guys offensively. We've seen shots from the points working. You know, and eventually when you get that working, then those passes through the slot will open up like you just saw there. Then those one-timers will open up like we just kind of witnessed across the course of this game. And I like that. If you have a balanced attack coming out from IQUE as they've had in this one, combined with solid defense, especially at the blue line like they've had, they're in really good shape.
Final 40 seconds here. YMCA not giving up. Sokolo unable to hold on to it. Pottsburg will battle along the boards. 25 away from the final horn. Turnover there and a goal. A brutal mistake to make when your goaltender is just 20 some odd seconds away from a shutout. Sokolo breaks it. 1939 into the third period.
Yeah, that's a pass you simply can't make in that scenario. You don't want to try to break the puck out in the center of the ice. You know, as really too often. I mean, we see players making those passes, you know, a fair amount of the time initial because, you know, it's obviously there and there's someone there, but there really was no one there in the center of the ice. It seemed like kind of a blind pass to just throw to try to get, you know, one more chance here and there. And yeah, it's a mistake that simply can't happen and that you won't be able to afford to make against one of the top teams, and unfortunately for Teme, it costs him the shutout.
A power play coming up here for YMCA with 6 seconds remaining in this game. They've already broken the shutout. A late goal here could certainly help. That was an absolutely brutal pass, though, is the only way to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you know, the good feeling of winning the game, I'm sure, will persist, but it's always a frustrating moment when it was a very avoidable mistake. Sokolo off the side of the goal, and that will do it. 6-1, the final score, as IQUE walk away with the victory. And again, 4 points out of this matchup against YMCA Esports, a tremendous result that they desperately needed.
Absolutely. You hit the nail right on the head. I mean, what a performance from them. You think about that first game too. I mean, this is such a momentous set of victories for IQUE. In that first game, they overcome a 2-goal deficit to come back. They take the lead briefly, of course. YMCA ties it up. They play overtime, but they find the game winner. And then in the second game, well, I guess the only way to put it is a blowout performance over a team that's directly above them in the standings here. I mean, for IQUE, this was just best case scenario all the way across, besides, of course, you know, allowing YMCA to take one of those points home. But you get 4 out of 4 points. You don't really care if your opponent does end up getting one necessarily, especially when you had the kind of mental victories and really kind of the turning points of the season that they had in this 2-game set. We could very well be witnessing the rise of IQUE from the ashes here, so to speak, in this season.
And a relatively strong performance there for Teme, too, stopping 6 of 7. 6 goals on 9 shots. Incredible efficiency for IQUE in this one. As we'll get a look here, it's credit to the streaming team and YMCA on this one for being willing to go back and look at these because, oof, that's sure it's a game they already want to forget. That was a tremendous deflection, though, for Yergely on that first opportunity because, again, Sin, IQ had a lot of those chances and found success in both games just by throwing the puck on goal. But they also found success here on some of these cross crease force attempts where YMCA left just a little bit more space, I'd say, than they did in that first game.
Yeah, absolutely. There was just a tiny bit more space, and a lot of that I think has to do with, IQ's more willingness for plays like that, throwing the puck on. 2 deflection goals in that game. If you're more willing to work the perimeter and throw pucks on from the perimeter, the other team cannot just sit back and collapse. We've seen so many times where, deflections will happen or bounces from in front, and the offensive team will be able to get their find the puck and be able to put those ones home. So you have to respect that as a defensive unit. If they're willing to shoot the pucks from the points, you have to attack. You have to put pressure, and that opens up the ice down lower here. And we're getting another look. It looked like just an attempt to drop pass it and reset here. From Sokolo goes all the way back in.
Oh, no. It's even worse in slow motion.
It is, and we're still trying to kind of figure out what was kind of going on there. We're actually still not too sure. I guess only really Bennett can know, and definitely not something that I'm sure he's going to want to be talking about a whole heck of a lot, as that really seemed to be the breaking point for YMCA right here. And what a play down low. Just a quick forecheck and all the time and space in the world for Ikavalko there. Maybe, Julius right there, a little bit of misplay as both of them went behind the net and left Ikavalko all alone out front. And that's the negatives that can happen. Yet another pass through the middle here and finished off. And it was just a great day at the offense for the
underneath
offense.
him, right through the legs. And you could tell there are a couple of replays here where I think YMCA are going to feel a bit shafted in a sense by some of the just the timing. You could call it luck if you want, just for it to have worked out the way that it did. And obviously, you make a play like that and to have it still go through you is a little bit rough. But at the same time, the stick's facing the other way. It doesn't likely go. It's just one of those things where it is, in a general sense, unlucky. But at the same time, you can't necessarily argue that IQ, weren't the better of the two teams in that second game, especially. So with that, we will throw 2-set intermission to try to get back on track here. IQ 4 points in the books. When we come back, Roots Gaming taking on Stargazing. Again, another very important set of points up for grabs for those two teams.